What's going on, guys? This is Gainz Gaming. Today we are talking about our farm colony. This is a video that I have had a lot of people ask about, just updating what I do every single day on my farm accounts to be able to gather as many resources as I do. Because as you guys know, gathering resources in Rise of Kingdoms is very tedious, but having multiple farm accounts can make it very easy to maintain a high amount of resources. And being in higher seed kingdoms where you're doing a ton of fighting and very expensive fighting at that, you need to make sure you are gathering resources and maintaining that high resource supply. Now, obviously there's some people that buy resources, but for me personally, I do not. I don't condone it. But if you do, I mean, by all means, it's just against terms and conditions. So for me, it's not worth it whatsoever. And I actually enjoy being able to gather my own resources and think, yeah, I earned this. I did this on my own. I was able to gather resources on my farm account and be able to supply my own resources. So that's just me personally. And one thing you might see here as I'm clicking through these is my resources gathered is substantially less than my resource assistance. A lot of people see that and they're like, how on earth is that possible? How are you sending more resources than you gather? Well, let me jump into my farm accounts and show you exactly how that's possible. Now, as you can see here, I have 6 farm accounts all in BIA. So we're going to hop onto here. I have not been on this since before reset yesterday. So I am behind on all my farm accounts. Typically, I'm a little bit more active, but today I was a little bit busier this morning. So let's take a look here. I obviously have not been online, so I have not collected anything after reset. So this actually is a pretty good example of what happens when everything caps out, and you actually lose quite a bit of value doing this. So everything here is capped out. I will get no more resources from these. You can see they're yellow. So as I collect these, they were all already maxed out. So if you take a look here, gold production per hour in the max capacity, those were all maxed out. So those could have been losing value for the last 8 hours, whatever it's been. So first of all, one thing that people make a huge mistake on is not buying the merchant's boutique or the courier station. This is fantastic value, especially for your farm accounts. So one other mistake I see people making on this is they buy out everything that costs resources, which is actually something I used to do, which is certainly not a good value. So for me, I don't care about tomes of knowledge. I don't care about materials on these accounts. I don't need them. So the things that I buy on my farm accounts, I do spend gems because I have gems and I don't need them. I don't need to have this many gems. So if I see something that is 90% off and it costs gems, I still buy it because I could not care less about gems on this account. I will always buy it for gems. Even 80%, sometimes I will buy it, especially if it's gold. Gold is something that I am definitely prioritizing on my farm accounts because that's what I need the most on my main account. Likewise, I actually do buy the boost. This is not necessarily for the resource production, but just so that I am able to do my daily tasks. And we'll get into that here in a second. So I'll go ahead and buy this. We'll go ahead and do our free refresh. So here's a great example. I will buy out the gold. I will buy out the food. This one, I don't need stone as much, so I don't really care to buy that one. Take a look down here. I do not buy the 24-hour. That's another thing that I will talk about. I do not buy 24-hour boost because it just is not worth the value. Another thing, I don't need stars. Again, I don't need tomes of knowledge, so I really could not care less. So the reason why I bought that boost, we'll talk about that real quick, is I want to get as many daily objectives finished every single day as possible. Now, I'm not like to the point where like I need to finish every single farm account every single day. Is it great if I do? Yes, but is it the end of the world if I don't? Absolutely not. So the one thing that I try to maintain is having these boosts. And you can see I am very low on this account. And so I do need to continue buying those in order to get the objectives completed. And you can see I'm now officially out of the gold. So this not only will get you resources here, but as you continue to do more quests, you get more of these chests unlocked, which do add up pretty quickly over the course of time. So if you do this on 6 farm accounts for me, even just getting to 80 every single day on 6 farm accounts, that's like an extra million resources every single day that I'm getting just by doing, 20 seconds of daily objectives. Like I will go ahead, I will log on to my farm account, I'll find a barbarian, and I'll just go do this. I'll do multi-select, send my troops out, go to my next account, just like this. Like literally takes 2 seconds, send out some barbarian hunters right there, and then go and do it on another account. And if you really want to be fancy, you can actually do multiple at a time. So if I just zoom out here, I'm close enough where I could actually go hit the same barbarians just like this. These all have 60,000 on each, so it actually probably will work. And then I can go to my next account and continue the cycle. And it makes it really easy to get barbarians done. And I can actually finish my daily objectives on my farm accounts on all 6 of them in about 3 to 5 minutes on all the accounts. So, being able to do that every single day, it does add up really, really fast. So just doing the small things, honestly, is very, very easy. And a lot of people overlook it. A lot of people overlook just doing the small things. So right here, I was not able to get all 5. So let's just find a new barbarian. I don't really care how far it is. We'll just go over here. I really could not care less because I'm, just going to the next account anyway. Another thing, being in an alliance. Now that's easy to say, but just gaining the territory resource earnings. Now, again, this is maxed out because I have not been online here in a while, but you can see 2 million food and wood, 1.5 million stone, and 1.2 million gold over the course of my 6 accounts every single day. That adds up so fast. So these things, and again, with the barbarians too, is when you defeat barbarians, you're getting resources. So you wonder why I am able to send more resources than I have, than I can gather, I should say, is by getting these chests, by hitting barbarians, by defeating barbarian forts, by opening the resources from the alliance, from these small things, they add up so quickly. On top of that, like I said, the daily objectives, these are resources you're getting that you're not gathering. And over the course of time, you can get billions and billions and billions of resources that you aren't even gathering. So it does add up so fast. And you don't need 6 farms. You definitely don't need 6 farms, but it can make it extremely easy to gather up resources. And if you're somebody that is doing a lot of fighting in Rise of Kingdoms, especially in a higher seed KVK, you need those resources. You need to be able to get them. And without farm accounts, it is so difficult to maintain the resources that you need. So right here, we'll help this guy out. You can see he's not in alliance, but we'll go ahead and we'll hit that barbarian with him. And it just makes it so easy. There's, literally a couple minutes a day is really all you need to gather billions of resources. You don't need to buy resources. You don't need to, spend hours and hours and hours a day on your farm accounts. It just is not necessary. And just these small things over the course of time make a huge difference. And so many people, I've struggled with this myself, hoarding gems on a farm account. I could not care less. I don't care to wait for more than gems. I already have VIP 12, so I'm getting gold heads every single day, which at the end of the day doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, I have YSS maxed out. I'm probably going to max out double C at some point, just for hitting barbarian forts, because I do that occasionally. I haven't really done that recently because I just don't really, I'm not really on them often enough to make that warranted. But, just those small things, they do add up really, really easily. And so many people ask me how do you get so many resources? And I'm like, it's really not that complicated. It's easy to try to think oh, he must be doing something special that's making it easy to get resources. Well, no, it's just how often are you logging on? How often or how consistent are you doing the basics? That's really what it boils down to. Is, are you doing the basics? And if you are, how long have you been doing it? Because if you do the basics every single day for a couple of weeks, a couple months, you're going to have a lot of resources. And that's just the reality of it. Again, I can't tell you how many times people ask me oh, can I have resources? I don't gather like you do. I'm like, I don't really gather that many resources either. Let's go to my main account and just show you how many resources I gather compared to other people in my kingdom. Because there's some people that they are gathering 24/7, and I do not do that. I log into my farm accounts 1 or 2 times a day, typically on average, and that's not that much. And I still get a ton of resources. See, 28.4 billion resources gathered. You can see 68, 63, 60, 3 people over 60 billion resources. You can see this farm account, 57, 57, 56 and a half, 53, 54 basically. Lucci here, that's insane. That is absurd. It is an insane amount of resources being gathered, which is extremely impressive. But being able to do that every single day, again, you don't need to be logging in multiple times a day. You don't need to log in every 2 hours to send out gatherers. Could you do that? Absolutely, but you definitely do not have to. just doing the basics over the course of time will add up substantially. And one thing I tell people too is at the very, very least, just joining the pit every single day, the gold pit every single day with multiple farm accounts, you will get a couple million gold every single day. And if you do that for a couple of weeks, that's a couple 100 million gold that you're getting just by sending it and forgetting it. Like it just sits there for 10 hours, send it before you go to bed, send it when you wake up in the morning, just enjoy the gold. That's that at the bare minimum, that should be what you are doing with your farm accounts. But you don't need to have multiple, you don't need to have a full colony, but I wanted to make a video just showcasing what my colony actually looks like. It really is not that complicated. It is extremely basic. I am not extremely active on them. I don't run barbarian forts 24/7. I don't do chaining. I don't do a ton of barbarians. I do the basics. I try to get the daily objectives done every single day. And if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I try to get to at least 80. Actually, I should say I try to get at least 50 because I want to make sure I'm trying to get the trading post, just getting the 50 for the daily gift, because you do get some decent stuff in the rewards here. Specifically VIP, you get some sovereign keys. I try to get to like level 40 is typically my goal, because you do get resources, you do get gems, which I spend gems on resources. When more than gems comes around, I'll show you guys what I typically do with more than gems on farm accounts. Because VIP, you can get some pretty decent things. And like I said, I don't hoard gems intentionally. They just add up because I do most days hit the daily objectives. So I'm getting 100 gems every single day at minimum typically. So when more than gems comes around, I do buy out the AP and the 5-minute speed ups. Really don't need the 5-minute speed ups. I should probably stop buying that, but the AP I will buy because I want to try to spend down my AP. But typically I'll just scroll all the way down and I will buy out the 600,000 gold. I'll get all 10 of these for 4,600, and the rest I'll do the food. And then the next day I will do the next gold, which I believe is the 200k. Yes, I'll buy all of these, and then whatever's left, I'll just buy more food. Food and gold are the two things I go for. I have way too much wood. I don't need it. VIP, I really could not care less because I don't really need that at all. It's not that big of a deal. VIP 14 is decent for farms with 25% gathering speed, but I really could not care less. I don't need it. Again, it's at the end of the day, it's just how often are you logging in, and are you in an alliance that's getting alliance territory bonuses. It's really not that complicated, but a lot of people try to make it sound complicated because they want to find an excuse as to why they're broke, when at the end of the day, it's just you're not active enough. And you don't need to be that active to be that successful. It just isn't really that necessary. If you're joining the pit just like this, you just go over here, put your march in. I don't think I have T4 on this one. Just go put your 75k in, your 50k, enjoy the gold. That's really, at the end of the day, that's all you need to do to be successful with farm accounts, is make a couple farm accounts, join the pit, be somewhat moderately active, and enjoy the massive amount of resources you are going to gain. If you guys enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe. And you will also, if you follow these tips, be able to gather billions and billions of resources and send them to your main account so that hopefully you can have resources like this and be able to use that in KVK and find much more success with your fighting abilities. Again, if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.